Right, class. This is the, I don't actually know what chapter this is. Yeah, 11-2 quiz. All right, let me make one thing clear. If you're here, you probably just need help. You probably don't care how it actually all works. So, yeah, that's why we got this here open. But that's not for the actual math. If you're trying to use ChatGPT for like doing math and like data analysis and stuff, it's most like 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna work. It's just like really basic math. So this is just for the word questions because I cannot be bothered to actually learn. I'm a business major. I want to make that clear. I'm a business major, so but I know how to do this. So the accompanying table to show results of challenge referee balls in a major tennis tournament. There's a zero point 0.5 significance level to test the claim that the gender of the tennis player is independent of whether a call is determine the null and alternative hypothesis. The gender of the tennis player is not so. The claim is that gender is independent of whether a call is so. It says the hypothesis. It says right here. That's pretty easy. You should be able to get that. If you can't figure that part out, watch me get this wrong, obviously. If you can't figure that part out, pick a different business, hardest degree out there. Okay. Now what you're gonna do? Determine this test statistic. Click here. Hopefully, if you're using Pearson, hopefully you have StatCrunch. If you don't have StatCrunch, I don't buy it. It is worth it. 1,000,000,000%. Open it up in StatCrunch. You're gonna go over here. You go to Stat. Go to Tables. Contingency. Stat. Tables. Contingency. With summary. This is the summary of the data. It looks like it's data. There's like oh, there's a bunch there. This is the summary, obviously, because it's not a bunch of individual ones. I at first thought it was the data, but no, it's the summary. You're gonna select all the data there except for the blank one. And for the row labels, you're gonna select the blank one, or the first one. Sometimes it'll say like variable one. So yeah, you're gonna click that, and that's basically it. I don't know why I'm out of breath. I'm not fat. See, I don't know if I can make like jokes on here. Anyways, the test statistic is well, it's this one right here. 2143. I can't read, but 21 point. I gotta turn those keyboard sounds off. Yeah, those gotta go off. If I was someone that was in desperate need of like help, and then the person in the video had that, I might just okay. Now that that's off, the p-value is obviously that. Now it says this. It says 4 decimal places. Obviously that's the 4th decimal place, but this is like so small you can just put 0 and it'll count. Okay, so if the p is low, the null must go, which means there is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection, but you got to figure out which one it is. Half of stats is like word problems. If you figure out like just the slight differences between them, then you'll get it. But there's sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim that the gender of the tennis player is independent of whether the call is overturned. There's sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. Male tennis players are more successful in overturning calls. See, that's not what we were testing. We were testing the gender of the tennis player is independent. Just add an extra word there. You gotta remember that too. If you don't have that memorized by now, you gotta remember that. If the P is low, the null must go, which means you're rejected. So warrants rejection. If the P is high, the null will fly, means there is not sufficient or there is insufficient evidence to warrant rejection. So yeah. Anyways, that's that question. I'm just gonna go through and do all of them. But if you can do that one, if you understand that one, everything I just did there, that's the whole test. That's all of 11 too. I find it a lot easier to X out of StatCrunch and then open it up again and again, just so you don't get your numbers mixed up or something like that. So, let's see. I'll big screen here. The table below includes results from polygraph lie detector experiments. Conducted by researchers. In each case, it was known if the subject lied or did not lie. So the table indicates when the polygraph test was correct. Use a 0.5 significance level to test the claim whether a subject lies in it. Okay, so all of that is just yap. Nobody cares. You see the word claim? That's where you need to actually start reading. Claim that whether a subject lies is independent of the polygraph test indication. So whether a subject lies is independent of the polygraph test, and on the H0 is the null hypothesis. That's it. You see the word claim? That's when you actually start reading. You can just skip the rest. Who cares? So also this number right here is sometimes important. Um, I'm nervous, guys. I'm nervous. I don't know if I can make jokes on here. I always thought about being a YouTuber. Like I'd be a funny YouTuber. Obviously, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just making this video because there wasn't a lot of YouTube videos out there on this lesson. But I'm doing my part for the business majors and statistics students out there. Open and stack crunch. So same thing. Like I said, this is all the same. I'm just same thing over and over. Summary stats, not summary stats. Tables. Stat tables contingency with summary. You can, and if you don't know, I honestly struggled with this when I was first using StatCrunch. To select multiple, you click the control button and you click on it. Or if it's like a big list of them, like if I wanted to get all three, you click the top one, then you click the shift key, and you click the bottom one and it selects them all. But you do control for that. And then obviously the blank one, or sometimes it does say a variable one, it'll be unnamed. Just put in your numbers. One of my least favorite, I honestly really like statistics. Like I said, I'm a business major, so this is really the last math class I'm ever gonna have to take. In terms of math classes, statistics, it's not been that bad. I really like what I really don't like is the rounding. What I learned with StatCrunch is rounding is like, I don't know, sometimes I'll round exactly how I've, been taught to round, and it's like, no, you're wrong. Never go more than like one digit over when you're rounding. I don't know. In school, I was taught that you like go on. So like if this was, so say this was a 9 and this was a 9, like you would round this one up and then round this one up. You just round that like one number. Where it says round to three decimal places, you just round one over. I'm not explaining that very well, but like as you do use Pearson, you'll realize. Because I honestly really got on my nerves. I understand it. Anyways, the p-value is, so now is when this number comes into play. The significance level, if this number is less than this number, p is low. If p is low, the null must go. So there's sufficient evidence to warrant rejection. But you gotta figure out which one. You gotta read them. Whether the subject lies is independent of the polygraph test indication. So there is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim. The subject may have this one. You just gotta read it carefully. Read the question carefully. Teacher. Okay. A study of seatbelt users and non-users. Yeah, who cares? Literally, okay. Scan through here, you see the word claim. Claim that the amount of smoking is independent of seatbelt use. The amount of smoking is independent of seatbelt use. Boom. Open StatCrunch. Pretty here. Stats. Tables. Contingency. With summary. I keep forgetting. Yes, oh yeah, here's a better example. There's four things. You click the top one, shift, click that. And then here it is variable one, like I was saying earlier. So that's it. Compute 7.139 and then p-value 0.067. And of course, you gotta round up, so it's actually 6'8". I'm 6'8" actually. That's not true. Like 10. Good day. But anyways, um, once again, p-value, significance level. So the P is actually high. So if the P is high, the null will fly, which means there is not sufficient evidence to warrant rejection. So it's one of these two. So what was the question? The claim is the amount of smoking is independent of seatbelt use. So there's not sufficient evidence to reject a claim that the amount of smoking is independent. Yes, it's that one. Just make sure it all matches up. Easy. Okay, here is here's one of these. I won't lie, I don't know if ChatGPT is going to be able to do this one. I mean, actually, I could just do this myself. This is really basic, but typically, I won't lie. Like I said, I'm a business major. You get a question like this, it has just word answers. Pop it right over here. Just pop it right over here. It's a business degree, right? It'd be different if all the nurses and whatnot, which they are. As a former pre-med student, I can assure you, all of the nurses, the future nurses, are using ChatGPT. So, like, I can vouch for that. But I can actually do this one. This is not difficult. Just a lot of it is like just memory, memorize this, that, or the other. And it's just like, I'm going to do that. ChatGPT. You actually have a proctor quiz. That's when you log in and actually learn a few words. But for this class, I had like one. So, okay, sorry. Thought someone was going to come in. Winning team data collected, blah, blah, blah. Use this significance level to test the claim of that. So 0.5 significance level, we have the p-value is less than that, so if the p is low, the null must go. So reject the null hypothesis. What was the claim? Test the claim that the home visitor team wins are independent of the sport. So we're rejecting. So it does depend on the sport, I believe. Okay, now that I've done that, let's actually let's do a little peer-reviewed study here. While this is doing it, I'm going to close my door real quick. Alright. It's like a weird string of sentences. I'm like, I was scared someone's going to come into my room. Serial killer. Anyways, since the p-value is less than the significance level, we reject. They are not independent, which means they. Why would you word it like that? Are not independent. Just say they are dependent. So it does depend on the sport. That's another thing. ChatGPT, for as much as people glaze it, like it's good at really basic stuff. But if you're using it to write an essay, genuinely, like it's almost better to just write the essay yourself, unless you're just really bad at writing essays. Anyways, back to work here. I'll just skip ahead and see if there's any more word questions. Oh, here's another one. Use that to test the significance level. So the P is high, the null will fly. Fail to reject. Does not, claims that they are dependent. So isn't it the same thing? Wait a second. Test the claim. Claim that home visitor wins are independent. So the claim is independent. So that's the claim. We're failing to reject that. So this is correct. Yes. Home visitor wins are independent. Yeah. Okay. Once again, a little fact checking. Maybe I'll just have like a deep hatred for ChatGPT because the amount of times it has failed me when I've needed it. So it's like taking a test or something. Or just drink something that doesn't need to be shaken, like shaken up in a protein shaker. Drink protein. Anyways, we failed to reject. So yeah, failed to reject. Oops. Does not. I can't read this. Okay. Failed to reject the null hypothesis. Not enough evidence to conclude that home visitor teams are dependent. So yeah, I guess. Obviously, I'm gonna go back when the test's over and I'll check everything. So I'll probably like timestamp that at the end. Actual answers. answers don't help. I've learned that. Like for the word questions they do. For these, because they change like one number and it changes the answer. It's annoying when you're trying to be as lazy as possible, like you guys. Whatever. Am I still recording? Oh, I'm still recording. I gotta use my this is how play. Is it recording? Yeah, there's a red line. Okay. I was gonna be mad. Did all that. Okay. An author argues that more American born okay, who cares? Literally, who cares? Claim that months of births of baseball players are independent of whether or not they were born. Months of births. Okay, months of births are independent of where they were. So, yes. Right now, open Stack Crunch. Stack Crunch is kind of cool. They got a lot of cool stuff on there. I'm Stack Crunch's biggest fan. Only way I was able to pass this class. Oh, I haven't finished it yet, but you know, summary. This, that. I think that's it. That's the extent of work you have to do. Identify the test statistic. 20.89 zeros. 0.034 runs up to 5. Just making sure. Save that. State the final conclusion. So what's the significance level is 0.1. So the P is high, the null will fly. Do not reject. There is not sufficient. A good way to remember this, if you can't remember the if P is high, the null will fly thing, is just remember that if, well, how do I say this? It's something that I've used is you got to remember that if the P is high, the null will fly. The null is low. If the P is low, the null must go. So if the null must go, then it's do not. If the P is high, the null will fly, which means you do not reject it. And the best way that I remember the second part, because sometimes you're like, oh wait, is that sufficient or is that not sufficient? I mean, if you just read it and you really think about it, it's like, yeah, but cheat code I use is there's a lot of there's 3 words here. The other option is 1 word. Okay? The other option for this one is 1 word, whereas there's 2 words here. So just remember there's multiple words. It's never going to be multiple words over here, and then just 1 word over here. Or it's going to be a longer word. Sometimes it'll say insufficient instead of not sufficient, which is 1 word, but it's longer. Remember, the longer ones go together. Okay? This is longer. This is longer than that. This is longer than that. So they go together. That's just something I've used. Pretty simple, but it keeps me most of the time. On one of my last tests, I actually mixed that up on the way. Why did I do that? I've been doing this for months. Anyways, blah 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 blah. Test the claim proportions of agree/disagree responses. Okay. So the claim. Oh, only 3. Okay. Proportions of agree/disagree are the same for subject. Okay, so in the response of the subject portion are the same. Are the same for subjects interviewed by men. Okay, so the same for subjects. Yes, that's that. And that's that. And I want to mention this. I don't know if I just got confused. I mean, I've been getting them right. I don't know where it is. But with this lesson right here, these feel swapped. Normally the null is like it feels like that's the one we're not testing. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt off. I was getting them wrong in the beginning. But now I understand it. So the claim is the null hypothesis for some reason, which is weird. I just don't think it's ever been like that. Anyways, it threw me for a loop. Threw me for a loop there. Anyways, open it in Stack. You know the dealio. With summary. Compute. Test statistic. 25. 747. Find the critical values. There we go. I was wondering how I'm gonna get these. So you can just count 1, 2, and -1, or even over here it gives you the degrees of freedom. This number, 1, right there. You're gonna go to your chi-square distribution table. It took me a while to understand these tables, and like which one I was supposed to be using for stuff. Not on this lesson, but in the past. Anyways, you're gonna go to 1, so 0.5 significance level. So what you're gonna do is it's gonna be the top row. Scroll all the way until you see 0.05 significance level. Take this number 3841 right here. Boom. That's that. Now they probably want you to see if this is within the critical area of that. Oh no, I want to do that. It was just to make about to make a whole point. And you can do that, but I don't feel like explaining that. It's just more complicated. I say I don't feel like explaining. I truly don't fully understand it. I get mixed up sometimes. What you're gonna do is bring that back up. Don't exit out like I did. With something. You're just gonna look at your p-value. You're just gonna use that. You're not gonna do all that extra junk. P is low, therefore almost do reject. There is C plus words, plus letters. So they go together. And if there's a third one, it might get a little sketchy, but it's okay. So what was the claim? If we're rejecting this, are the same. Okay. There is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim that the proportions of agreed assertions are the same for subjects interviewed. It appears that the gender of the interview, yeah, so it appears that it has changed since we're rejecting that they are the same. And it appears that they are. Just read, That's what I had to learn in the class. Typically in math, you just skip most of the words and for like the important bits. But in this class, yeah, you do have to typically read a lot and actually pay attention. I regret not starting making these videos like in the beginning of the semester. I'm almost graduated from, associates or whatever. So I'm not doing any more math after this. It might be. Think about finance, but yeah, to be a finance frat, bro. Anyways, open in Stack Crunch. Bada bing, bada boom. See, I don't know. Should I be talking the whole time? Is that annoying? Well, it's your fault for not understanding. And you gotta deal with me. I'm one of like 3 people on the internet that's making videos about this specific lesson. There's me, obviously, with some of them. There's me, and then there's that guy from, I think his name is Professor Curtis from Spider Academy. His videos are good. That's a good place to learn how to do this stuff if I don't have something, like vice versa. If I have something he doesn't. His videos are usually because he uses StatCrunch and he explains how to do it. It's either me, that guy, or some like guys you can't really understand. Maybe it's Michael. Interpret that how you will. Anyways, 0.5 significance. Anyways, we just did all that. I shouldn't have to explain exactly what we're doing. Identify the hypothesis. Blah, blah, blah. Looking for one word in here. You know what that word is. It is claim. Claim that injuries are independent of helmet color. Injuries in helmet color are independent. Test statistic. 8.953. Yeah. Find the critical values. Degrees of freedom is 4. Click here. You're going to go, okay, 0.05. Click on this. 4. So 4 down and 0.05. 2, 3, 4. 9488. What is the conclusion? So once again, they probably want you to be like, oh, this is inside the critical area, blah, blah, blah. That's overly complicated. Who cares? We got the p-value. We have the significance level. The p is high. So if the p is high, the null will fly. So fail to reject is not sufficient. More letters, more letters. You know how it is. Except all that. Now let's let's see, I probably got like all these wrong. So let's actually see. I'm doing this a day late, and my class has a 10% late penalty or whatever. So all of them, even if I make a perfect score, it's gonna show a 90 because I'm doing this a day late. I was like, you know what? I'm too tired. I'm not doing this. Anyways, so you just gotta put your sleep above your boom, perfect. Got them all 100% correct.